Hello, I'm Kason Smith with an overview of Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences theory. Oh sure, I could give you some basic facts about MI, but why not let the man himself give them to you?
Greetings, I'm Howard Gardner. In the early 1980s, I developed the theory of multiple intelligences. At that time, most people believed that intelligence was a single thing and that could be adequately measured by a single test, the IQ test. What I did was to look at data from many different sources and come up with a different conclusion, that all human beings have a number of relatively independent intelligences, so you can be strong in some areas, average in other areas, and not so good in yet other areas of intelligence.
Here's a graphic representation of the multiple intelligences theory. We'll visit each of these intelligences in this presentation. When we do, try to think of at least one student you've taught who excels in that intelligence. Now, if you can't think of any offhand, consider this. They may have already told you, but you didn't recognize it. During a lesson, they may have said, "I see," or "That rings true," or possibly even, "I feel ya." A couple of concepts to consider about these different types of intelligences. They are independent. One intelligence is not particularly related to another. Strengthening one will not generally strengthen or weaken another. That's not to say a person cannot be strong in more than one intelligence, just that they don't generally or relatively influence each other. They are not learning styles. They are intelligences. This has to do with the brain. Learning styles are approaches or techniques used to interact with information or materials. A person may use a reflective learning style for written material, but may not use that style for all materials like music or visual graphics. Intelligences refer to specific abilities of the brain. Similarly, intelligences are not senses. Eyesight and hearing may be the channel through which material is ingested, but again, it's what the brain does which is important. For instance, both spatial visual learners and linguistic learners would be able to see and hear this presentation perfectly. However, the brain of the spatial visual learner would be processing the image on the screen more intently than the words I'm saying, whereas the linguistic learner would be processing the words I'm saying more vigorously. Some advice for educators about multiple intelligences theory. Individualize teaching. Reject the one-size-fits-all approach to your class and learn as much as you can about each learner. Find the way they want to learn. Now, this is a challenge for bigger classes, but apps and other technologies are making it easier for students to individualize their learning. Pluralize teaching. Use a variety of materials and a variety of ways to access these multiple intelligences. Use stories, works of art, diagrams, role-playing. This also conveys to your students that you know the subject very well, since you're presenting it with multiple intelligences. Also remember, intelligences are not styles or senses, so don't refer to them that way professionally. It confuses colleagues, and it certainly doesn't help your students. In the future, a good resource to visit is Howard Gardner's very own MI Oasis website. In his own words, this is the official, authoritative site of multiple intelligences.